Welcome back to more Disco Elysium. I want to get straight into it. Let me continue investigating this sea fortress. It looks like I can go down this way. Never mind, the stairs are broken. I have to go this way. Let me look at this.
Books and magazines lie scattered on the floor and on a makeshift cupboard. They are not particularly well organized.
Sift through them.
Most are soft covers, serialized fantastique and detective stories from the 20s and 30s. This disparate digest includes the classic Animal Adventures, popular depictions of man versus nature by amateur naturalists T&T Harpin, husband and wife, widely read by people from all walks of life. Who doesn't like nature? Who doesn't want to survive? Among what is mostly commercial fiction and serialized stories, you find a magazine cathodique for electrical engineering. Then it's back to pulp. Light erotica, an international thriller about circuit benders.
Someone's made themselves a home.
The lieutenant inspects a softcover. So I got a conceptualization check here. Does anything stand out as unusual?
Oh yes, under the bed, there is a rather extensive collection of critical theory, that is, dour, life non-affirming left-wing literature, published by small imprints such as Abattoir Firm and Ouzia. It's not exactly like reading.
Look, Kim, deranged commie ranting.
Ouzia. I agree. Humanitarian sciences. It stands out. Not a lot of critical theory around in Ravachol West.
Your incendiary remark has failed to provoke him. Wasn't there some in the communist student's room?
A student in the apartment building seemed to have some as well.
Well, yes. That one student did.
The little books seem inconsequential next to the big pile of frivolous entertainment covering them.
Critical theory books. What do you think this means?
Again, I am not a philosopher, but whoever has lived here, they have some education and a certain set of interests.
Interesting.
All right. Okay. So I guess this is all one thing. I thought it was three separate things. Let me just triple check though.
Soft covers, serialized.
Yeah, it's all one thing. Let me take a look at this. Nice, a new jacket. The Fallen Arrower shirt. +1 hand-eye coordination. Where's the shirt? I guess I must have had like an empty slot here somewhere. There it is. This Fallen training shirt has seen one wash too many. It retains its unusual design, one sleeve short, the other long. But little of its original colors. A giant F swooshes across its chest, now in gray. Let me put on like the entire outfit, because I have the full Fallen outfit now, don't I? Oh, minus the cap. I gave my hat to the girl that was cold outside, Estelle. So I cannot do the full outfit. That's okay. I'll just put everything back to what I had. All my conceptualization stuff. Okay, whatever. Then I got this up here. It is a scarf. Army surplus winter scarf. This towy old scarf itches when wrapped around the neck. It has humanitarian aid written all over it. Yet, you know that thousands all over the Isola are suffering the same fate as you. The fate of uncomfortable army surplus scarves. Looks kind of interesting. I'm going to keep my 8-eyed Terratorn tie, though. That's a magnesium. Money and magnesium. Excellent. This great blast door must weigh over 10 tons. Rust peels off of it.
You see a small metal door nested inside a larger one. A heavy steel blast door. There is a conventional keyhole above the handle. It's very small.
What's on the other side?
Another part of the island, probably. The lock looks like it could still be usable.
The lieutenant looks into the keyhole. How do we open this?
Maybe this is one of the doors we don't open?
He looks at the door, then at its bigger brother, then at the lock.
He's right. It would be better to open its big brother. A powerful engine hangs under the ceiling. It must control the blast door.
No, this isn't one more door. We're opening it.
Alright, I retract my statement. It was naive. Let's look around and get it open.
That's right. Another task.
The heavy metal door.
Okay, just making sure there was nothing else there. Okay, so I can come here on the underside now. This hatch is jammed shut. Water rushes far down below.
Green paint flecks off the monoblock aluminium cabinet. There are rows of switches on the front panel, a frequency band, and even a keyboard.
Run my fingers across the keyboard.
The keys rattle like teeth. This keyboard hasn't been functional in decades.
What is this then?
The console of an anti-computation device. The generator upstairs, with wires coming out. They terminate here.
The lieutenant points to the wires running into the machine. Could this open the blast door?
Possibly. Urgence, ouvert, allumé, radio diffusé. It sounds like this device was used to control the electronics here. Maybe it still does.
He inspects the dials.
This device was used to control the electronics in the room. It could open doors, control lights, function as a radio computer.
Gonna turn emergency open.
We need to restore power before using this, officer. The generator, it didn't look like there was fuel in it.
He looks upstairs.
We should look around outside. There are barrels all over. Maybe one of them still has something in it.
He looks into the dim light to his right.
The boat engine.
Or we could get some from the boat engine.
But officer, then we would have to swim back to the mainland. Let's just look around, okay?
The consul stands by, mutely. Urgence, ouvert, reads a dial key. Allumé reads another. The frequency band says, radio diffuser.
Let me try to push another button, the light one.
Nothing happens. The dial slides under the glass, silently. You make out defunct stations on the UKV frequency. The words, Feld Insula, are written on the band.
Insular. This is an off-air radio computer, I believe, used for military communications.
The lieutenant leans in to inspect the cursive writing. Alright, so I could go down this door, the one I went out in my dream in the last episode, but let me check over here, see where this is going to take me. Oh, this is back outside. I didn't realize it was upstairs. This is where I came in from. Okay. So yeah, let me head outside. It's kind of tricky to navigate this area because... See, if I like click the wrong place, it tries to take me upstairs. Oh, there's something here. Money. Excellent. Anything else I'm missing? Doesn't look like it. Let's go outside. A firing slit. You can't see inside. It must have taken a direct hit to take out such a huge chunk. Let me put my gun back on. No, I'm in a fort. Let's do a sword. A gun and a sword. Let's do it. The distant sound of cargo ships. Signal horns echo on the water. I'm gonna zoom out a bit just to make it easier to explore. Let me follow the entire coast. The ice cracks under your feet. Be careful not to fall through. Which way should I... Well, let me go towards that chain. That looks like it goes to the coast. Nothing here.
A strange feeling looking at the water. Maybe you should just wander off into the sea, leave it all, and walk in with a bottle in your hand.
A bottle in my hand?
Always.
Why?
Perhaps there's someone there, under the water, waiting for you, where it has always been, in front of the video rental, on the corner, at the crossing, smelling of tutti frutti and betrayal. Maybe you know it's going to hurt.
But it's cold.
Yes, cold and still. But love is warm, like the inside of her mouth.
Yes, please.
Oh fuck, yes. Go there in your head. It's been days since you thought about her. A week. No, we're not starting with that. Not now. Not this time. This thought is over.
Razor sight.
In the snowing mirror of the bay, you see Martinez reflected. Tall edifices of ruins reach into the water, like shimmering towers. And the shacks too. Pine trees and motor lorries, upside down. Islets and posts, like stepping stones, lead into the water in front of you. Go. Step in. It's been too long.
Shake my head. Let me take a look at my journal, by the way. So, determine where the shot came from. Armor pieces, and then I need to find the fuel generator. Find fuel for the generator. Open the blast door. Find the murder weapon. Okay. Pretty manageable, I think. The winch is broken. Rust has eaten what remains of the chain. Let me climb up here. I know I said this last episode, but I'm loving the music here on this island. The pain in your pelvis makes you wince. Then you continue. The inside of the fortress. You make out the console and the blast door. No way to jump down here without breaking a few bones. The depot that supplied this chain is long gone from the coast. A weathered artillery map showing coordinates in the Bay of Revachol. An old medicine cabinet, newly stocked with druamine. Looks like we got a fuel canister, nice. And I got some druamine, some money. Wow, 9+ here. Maybe I shouldn't have bought so much at Fritz, but how was I supposed to know I was going to find a bunch on the island?
There's a rain-soaked mattress on a concrete slab, only half covered by the crumbling roof. At the head of it, double embrasures, firing slits like two eyes in the wall.
This looks like a good place to aim from.
The lieutenant looks around. He steps closer with his hand on his gun. Inspect the mattress.
A single-person mattress, modern, civilian use. Brand name, Marjorie. There's a fuel stain on the cover, along with cigarette burns. And an empty can of beans on the ground next to it, filled to the brim with cigarette butts.
Pick one out of the can.
The silhouette of a tobacco picker adorns the paper filter. The brand, Tio Moteri. Contemporary Revacholians prefer Druan, a local blend from the southern islands, or Astra, the legendary cigarette from Grad. Tio Moteri is favored by older men for its paper filter tips, sweet smell, and added tar.
Tio Motiri. Like the ones we found on Land's End, remember?
I may have been wrong when I said it was unimportant. This means the same person could have visited both locations.
He stares into the can for a second.
I didn't see any signs of smoking inside, though. If people live there, they keep it tidy. This here may also be a smoking spot.
Inspect the wall.
There's a firing slit in the wall in front of you, like a little window.
Touch the concrete.
Quite old and grimy from years without cleaning by anything other than the rain.
Look through the hole in the concrete.
The springs screech as you lean on the mattress and crane your neck to look out. Trepidation. A tingling feeling in your stomach. A small piece of Martinez coastline opens up in the square in front of you, like a tiny landscape painting. 1 kilometer across the water, the ruins look familiar.
On the left?
A towering skyscraper, its top floors shaved off by artillery fire. Capeside apartments. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 33A and 33B.
On the right?
The red chimney and collapsed back of the 4-story tenement in front of the whirling in rags. Rue de Saint-Ghislain, 10. The doomed commercial area.
And between the two?
The box-shaped silhouette of the whirling in rags. You see a small fleck of white on the rooftop, the upstairs window of Clausia's room, in the snow, reflecting light.
Motherfucker.
What does that mean? Do you have line of sight to the window?
More than that.
Kim, with a pair of binoculars, I will be able to see inside the room.
A pair of binoculars? Or a scope of a rifle? You'd be prone, lying on a mattress, barrel resting on the embrasure.
He points to the makeshift bed.
I think we have it. The origin of the shot. This is the sniper's nest.
He pats you on the back. 3 small pats in a row.
Affirmative.
Why didn't we come here before?
Why? We don't go everywhere in a 1,000-meter radius of the crime scene. That's not procedure.
6 people are dead. We could have prevented it.
Don't beat yourself up, officer. We did not put guns in their hands or get them drunk.
He looks north over the fortification, then adds,
The lieutenant pauses. Regret comes over him.
We will make up for it. Here. I feel it.
could the shooter still be here?
Where?
On this island.
He does not answer, just nods. With his back hunched, he looks around once more and says,
We should move now.
Very interesting. So I got the fuel canister. Looks like the only thing left for me to do is go back. You feel eyes on your back. Someone's watching, but you can't say where. It's not good. He's got a sniper too. You know, if he has a line of sight on me, that can't be good. When I say he, I'm assuming it's a he. Could very easily be a she. So let me put the fuel in here.
This old cylindrical generator waits with its fuel cap open. Makeshift electrical wiring runs out of its side and across the floor.
Pour fuel into the tank.
The lieutenant assists you, holding the canister up to the fuel tank as you tilt. Dark brown, viscous fluid pours out, and the room fills with a chemical smell. There's a red starter switch on the side of the cylinder and a start rope on the other side. The lieutenant flicks the switch.
Pull the rope.
The recoil start wakes the old generator up. The machine sputters like an old warhorse before settling down to a rattle.
That should do it.
Okay, let me take another look at the journal. We're down to find all armor pieces, which I have a bad feeling about. I feel like I probably missed it. I feel like if anything, I would have found all 4 pieces before the tribunal occurred. So I may have missed it somewhere, which would be super unfortunate. And then open the blast door. Obviously, I'm about to do find the murder weapon. I'm assuming is going to be a little bit later on. So I think these 2 are clearly still doable. I'm just worried about to find all the armor pieces. Oh well. Can't get everything in a blind playthrough. I will be doing a bonus episode, by the way, though. After I finish the blind playthrough, where I'll unlock all the achievements, all the Steam achievements. So we'll figure stuff out there.
A dim golden glow animates the console. Faint, like a ghost light. Urgence ouvert reads one dial key. Allumer reads another.
It's on. Turn emergency open.
Automatic boot.
Okay. Turn emergency open.
The blast door opens with a series of clicks. A shaft of light appears, then widens as the light shines in.
Wow. That is some heavily fortified door.
After you.
Before, outside, when we were walking across the sand, I felt someone watching me.
So did I. Not back there, but I felt it since we came here.
What's there?
I don't know.
A thin wisp of smoke rises from a charred black fire pit. The wind picks up, then dies down again.
What if we get into another fight?
Don't worry. I have a gun.
He takes his sidearm, checks the barrel, then holsters again. I also have a gun.
I know. It was not easy to acquire.
Let's go. Wait, what about the
dim
light?
Golden glow animates. The lighting in the room turns on with a sizzle, a dim ambient orange.
Then let me try the radio again.
The dial slides under the dusty glass.
Insular. This...
Nothing new on that one. Okay. So we got light on here. You know what? Let me come back up here. Maybe the light has revealed something else. Doesn't look like it. Let's proceed. Walk slow. It might be dangerous. Okay, fine. I'll take the caps lock off. There's nothing to examine here besides going this way. Let me zoom out a little. Small white flowers blossom all around you. A rubber dinghy. It's deflated, broken. Oh, there is someone there. Looks like the fireman. Before I go up there, let me check out some other areas. That's the mattress from earlier, okay. Well, I have no option other than to go up there now. He's got a rifle on him. I mean, it's time.
An old man wearing tracksuit trousers leans on the frame stock of his rifle. He gathers a big ball of spit in his mouth,
The deserter.
then spits it out into the extinguished fire before him. He raises his black eyes, hooded by creased eyelids, to meet yours. Unclouded by cataracts, his eyesight is sharp. He's practically tearing up from spite. Hatred got the best of him a long time ago. This man hates everything.
Are you the fire guy?
The what now? I can't hear you.
He cups his ears. Did you recently tell 2 kids to put out the fire? 2 twins.
I may have. All sorts of little rats have come sniffing around, trying to give up the position.
The position sounds like a hiding place.
Fire guy. Regressive bourgeoisie henchman. Can't even talk like a grown-up.
He shakes his head. You've retained your eyesight.
My eyesight? Yes. Helps me see all the shit.
Did you close the blast door?
I did. And you opened it. How?
He breathes out with a wheeze. How did you know I was coming?
Reactionary rock and roll music. Playing on the water.
He gestures north. Makes sense.
Told you we shouldn't play sad FM.
It was not rock and roll, it was sad FM.
Sad FM, huh? I always hated that station. Phlegmatic, counter-revolutionary dirges. Sadness is a mental illness. A weapon of the bourgeoisie. The fascists were right about rock and roll. It is degenerate. Hip gyrating, mental illness music.
Nice gun you got there.
It's not nice. It's a piece of shit. But it gets the job done.
Is that a Belmagrov?
It's a Triangong 446.
Southeast Samaran made. Exotic. Must be defunct too. No modern rifle manufacturer of that name springs to mind.
A Samaran rifle. How did you get hold of one?
It was sent to us by our brothers in the Sinyao commune. Military aid.
He pats the rifle. The Sin Yao commune?
You heard me. It's good now. Like chalk wiped from the board.
I'm gonna say, I'm with the police. You can keep the gun, but keep it down. Not one move.
No.
The lieutenant aims his pistol square at the man's head and says,
Put it down now, sir.
Or you're gonna blow my brains out before you question me. To hell with it. It's a walking stick anyway.
There's a moment of silence.
It's out of bullets.
The old man lays the rifle down carelessly, then looks at it lying there.
Like an amputated limb in the sand. He stares on, his wrinkled mouth moving without a sound. A strange sadness, like a song.
What did you say?
The future teaches you to be alone.
The present.
The present.
The present to be afraid and cold.
The old man pulls back the hood of his plastic cape and looks up into the sky. It's blue-gray, the same color as the sea. Those words, the future teaches you.
Real music. Real prolet cult. That's La Revacholière, not your rock and roll misanthropy. Chanson de soldat of the black and whites.
Chanson de soldat. I think it's the soldier's song.
You need to address that remark.
What is La Revacholière?
It is the anthem of the world revolution. One of three.
His eyes remain fixed on the sky.
In Grad, they sang brave children, favorites of history. And in Sinyao, it was some Samaran shit, I guess.
He struggles to remember, then gives up. How does it go, the song?
How did it go?
He looks at his gun on the ground and shakes his head slowly.
Something about shooting rabbits. I don't know. I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's gone now.
Who are you?
My name is Josef Lilianovich Dross, Political Commissar of the 114th Anti-Aircraft Division of the 4th Army of the Commune of Revachol.
He looks across the water, then back at you.
I am a deserter, a partisan, and a prisoner of war. This is my termless surrender.
His eyes turn to the reeds again, dead and dull.
The commune of Revachol? Do you mean the ICM? You're a holdover from the...
The lieutenant forgets to close his mouth.
From the Insular Indian Citizens Militia, the Army of the Revolution. I was recruited in Jamrock in '07, trained in the École de Contrôle Orient, and consigned to emergency defense duties in '08.
I believe this means the School of Aerial Control.
I left my unit on the eve of the landing. When I returned here on May 14th, the commune had fallen. Still armed and ideologically trained, I wrote a criticism of myself and resumed partisan duties.
51 minus 8 equals 43.
So you've been on the island for 43 years?
No. I've been on other islands, too.
He looks into the fire. A wisp of smoke rises from somewhere between the charred logs.
I was in a resurrection until they turned it into a spa in 18. Then I was an E-48, a nameless sound, until the sea washed over it. Then I came back here. That was 22 years ago.
You said you deserted your unit?
I was just 16 years old. 15 when I volunteered. I had a lapse of faith. And of courage, too.
Lapse of faith?
You could say I misunderstood the historic role of the proletariat and thought Mazovian socioeconomics were fallible. For a second, I doubted the irreducible laws of historic materialism. A second is all it took
For what?
for reaction to take hold.
What's reaction?
Petty bourgeois terror. It's in all men.
Yes, we all have a tiny bourgeois person in us trying to run away.
He does not seemingly react to what you said. Only his right brow moves a little. He does not believe a police officer is genuinely revolutionary.
And this was when?
The lieutenant instinctively looks to his notebook but does not take it out.
May the 13th, 08, 44 years ago. The horizon was black with coalition airships. Their petroleum rose to the sky, and it looked like it formed the clouds. Storm clouds. When they started shelling, it was dark magic.
Dark magic?
The combined might of international capital. All at once, all the greed and terror in the world tore into Revachol. It lifted streets from the ground and turned houses into ghosts. We were in the flak tower,
He gestures toward it.
huddled on the floor. The artillery was 80 kilometers away in Ozon, but I knew the commune would fall. We would all be turned into ash. So I said I was going to the map room.
He looks east.
A terrible shame still within him. The lobes of his ears are red with it. The shame and smallness of what he became.
You didn't go to the map room.
No. I climbed the chain link across the water and hid inland, in the bunkers there, like the weakest of the weak. A mouse, frightened at the ordnance all night, and the sound of the rotors in the morning, whirring.
He looks at the sky. What was that?
Airships. I climbed out into hell. The landing was complete. The chain was submerged. I had to swim back. The fortress was half submerged too, shattered. They'd all drowned in the lower levels, or got torn to shreds above. The anti-aircraft gun had malfunctioned. So had I. I left them without ideological direction. It was real. I'd seen it. I'd seen it in reality.
He opens his eyes and stares right through you. Seen what?
The mask of humanity fall from capital. It has to take it off to kill everyone, everything you love. All the hope and tenderness in the world. It has to take it off just for 1 second to do the deed. And then you see it, as it strangles and beats your friends to death. The sweetest, most courageous people in the world. You see the fear and power in its eyes. Then you know.
He's silent for a second. What?
That the bourgeois are not human.
You've lost your mind,
Now is not the time, Lieutenant Yefreto.
the lieutenant says gently.
I had to. I had to fight it. I could not stop anymore.
The old man falls silent. His black eyes keep piercing your skin as he looks to some great distance behind you, shaking his head slowly, retreating from it. What is this place? This island?
It's not an island, Dwat. It's a defensive fortification of the commune of Revachol. and I am its last surviving defender.
He looks around. What was it used for?
The congenitally deformed King Philip II built it to restrict access to the Bay of Revachol. We captured it in '02, retrofitted the fort with an AA gun to defend against an airborne landing. Against the whole world.
You mean the landing? Retaking of Revachol?
Coalition military called it Operation Deathblow. I later found out on the radio they called it Deathblow. You're one of them. Tell me, who speaks like that? We had 50 million people on Caillou alone.
First, I'm not one of them.
Sure you are. You're RCM. Answer me. Who calls an operation against 50 million people Deathblow?
Coalition military.
Iblis.
Iblis?
The black-eyed angel.
Shaitan Ahura, the Darkened One.
Again, you've been hiding here for 43 years?
43 years and 10 months.
That's steadfast.
It's not how a human being should live. But I had to. I couldn't just forget. I couldn't just forget what I saw.
He grimaces, clearly in pain.
He just couldn't.
You couldn't give up.
He nods. But he can now.
What have you been doing during all this time?
Hiding, fishing, waiting.
He looks across the water.
Where the afternoon grows late, on Rue de Saint-Ghislain, people walk home. Street lights will soon be lit. Further inland, the streets are alive with workers, men, women, children, street hawks and migrant laborers. The temperature is steady. Alto cumulus clouds form above Precinct 41.
Always waiting.
The old man turns his eye from the shore and back to you. For what?
For her to return.
Her who?
Girl, child, revolution.
Girl child revolution?
Always.
I dare not dream anymore.
Good. The material base for an uprising has eroded. The working class has betrayed mankind and themselves.
He blinks his black eyes.
The historic opportunity for a revolution has passed. It will not come back anymore, however hard I try, whatever I do.
What has he done? Perhaps a confession would lighten the load.
What have you done then?
Yes, what? To get things going again? Fan the flame?
The lieutenant steps closer.
There is no flame to fan. There is nothing left of the world, of our dreams.
He stares right through him, blinking his dark eyes. Have you survived? How have you survived all this time?
How does anyone survive? I steal.
He looks at his worn running shoes. What do you steal?
Supplies, vegetables. I collect rainwater. It's the life of a dog, not a human being.
He winces and coughs once more, then puts his hand on his belly.
How is your health, Mr. Dross?
I've been throwing up blood since winter. Red, like beetroot. Been passing it in stool, too.
He does seem frail, gaunt for his age, more like 75 than 65. Trouble putting on weight could mean cancer.
The RCM can provide medical services. You need to be looked over.
I need to die. You don't have medical facilities. You have guns. That's all they give you. Toy guns.
A droll smile stretches across his mouth.
You also have Druamine.
We have Druamine and other opioid-based painkillers. You must be in pain.
I have been running out of that stuff.
A light goes on in his eyes. He smacks his lips dry.
There's no way he could manage the pain without them. It's safe to say he is addicted to painkillers by now.
You like that Druamine, don't you?
It's the little joys. The dark joke, a sunshiny day, morphine.
How have you coped mentally?
I haven't. I have holes in my brain. Years missing. Others filled with pain only. A decade of...
His eyes roll into his skull and back.
I don't even know what. Inferno?
I also live in hell.
At least you know it. The traders of this city turned the lights back on in the 30s, after the fighting stopped. Ruins, glittering in the dark like a fucking merry-go-round.
He nods towards Martinez.
It's disgusting.
He looks down at his shoes, his face parched from the sun and the wind. There's a wince of pain in there somewhere.
Are they not heartbroken? How could they have moved on?
How have you concealed yourself all these years?
It was hard in the Thames. I didn't have partisan training. They were searching for stragglers, those bloodhounds. Floodlights on the water at night.
There were posters, campaigns.
We communards still hoped, and they needed to snuff that hope out. The East capitulated. Martinez and Cold City were turned to dust. But Jamrock, Forburg, even Coron, and Boogie Street, of course. Those fucking kips had Marsov coursing through their veins. And others too. Some cordons of Revachol was still fighting. There were cells. I tried to contact them. Soon they all went silent. The frequency's dead.
He shakes his head. How did you get between here and the mainland?
At night, I used a dinghy. I only went after dark then. When I got to the city, I stayed underground. Patrols, you lot, the commons too. They'd started snitching.
He nods toward the deflated tire in the reeds.
In the city, you move underground?
From bunker to bunker. Not anymore. No one cares now. I don't even have to hide. They think I'm another antisocial vagrant. I could walk straight into that town if I wanted. I just...
He falls silent, his gaze fixed on the shacks huddled together across the water. Why don't you just walk there?
I don't want to. They're all traitors. Pigs, rabbits, and dogs. Men without ideals are only animals.
He does not want to see life moving on. People forgetting, drinking, laughing.
The weapons cache under St. Ghislaine 22B, in the basement. Have you been there?
So you finally found it. There must have been a small squadron's worth of arms in there. Elmer Graves, right?
They were.
Useless now. Rusted away.
So you've been there?
Sleeping. Some nights. Ammo scrounging on others. Those McGraves were shit, even before they corroded. Some had bullets in the chamber, however.
You feel the dots connecting. Little dots on the map he's walked across.
There's a small bunker under the Feld building. Have you stayed there?
The propaganda bunker. I used to, but not anymore.
Propaganda bunker?
They stored leaflets there. Broadcasting equipment, too. Made broadcasts, I think. Propaganda officers. I buried them with their leaflets. They killed themselves. 2 young boys.
Killed themselves?
A lot of our boys did. I spent some winters there. Never liked it. Kept thinking of them. No need to go underground anymore. It's better in the ruins, on the ground.
He stares at the ruins of the Feld building. One more question. Do you smoke Teomotiri cigarettes?
I do.
Ever smoked them on the mainland?
They're good. Plenty of tar. I like that boy on the pack, too. Reminds me of the last century.
He nods. Tell me another thing.
The old man looks across the water, at the city, the ruins, the motorways rising above it.
You said this is your termless surrender?
You're with the RCM, the coalition-appointed mob that enforces bourgeois morals in Revachol.
We're not coalition appointed. We just try to help people.
You're the RCM. You represent the Moralist International, the enemies of humanity who took this city. I represent their adversary, le Parti Communiste dans ce monde.
He stares at you coldly.
Take me to them as a prisoner of war. I have relinquished my weapon. I can no longer serve. No superiors can relieve me of my duty. You bulldoze them all to a mass grave for trying to free humanity.
His hand shakes and he breaks into a coughing fit.
A spray of blood from his mouth on the black charcoal in the fire pit. Rene, the royalist on the coast, said,
You never signed the Revacholian Instruments of Surrender.
Liberal reactionaries signed that instrument. Traitors who should have been burned alive. I answer to the Communist Party.
He draws his breath.
Is that part of why you've been here all this time? Because the party didn't surrender?
He just wipes the blood from his chin.
Honorable.
Honor is a feudal atavism. My motive is class.
I was trying to hold off on getting the gun, but now I'm getting a little bit worried that I might miss my opportunity. Because that is one of my tasks. So hopefully after I finish this last thought here, it'll give me another opportunity. So you're a communist soldier from the communist army.
No, I am not a soldier. I am an ideological officer. I belong to the party, not the army.
But you said you were trained and assigned to the Defense Corps.
Trained in historical materialism, then assigned as a political commissar by the party. These things used to mean something.
Wait, what does a political commissar do?
The old man does not answer. He tilts his silver head and looks at the reeds. You see a small tremor pass through his legs.
His job was to assure the army answers to civilian control and follows the ideology of the Commune.
The lieutenant says softly.
Scientific communism. A commissaire politique is a night philosopher of the revolution, a future human.
The tracksuit-clad old man is suddenly reanimated.
Awakened from shutdown by the promise of ideology, he was like a cleric, a shepherd.
So you were like a priest.
No, the opposite of that. A future human, not a human of the past.
That means you're a trained communist, right?
He nods slowly. Then another tremor.
I'm gonna say nothing. He looks away to the sea and lets out a cough. I have another serious question for you.
There's nothing serious in this world. It's a farce.
He looks at the gun lying on the ground. I'm gonna pick it up.
His gaze follows your motions. The rifle feels surprisingly light in your hand. Frame stopped and patched in places with tape and wire.
Inspect it closer.
The rifle's in a shabby state, like a crutch that's seen too much travel. Hieroglyphs are embossed into the forearm, made of walnut. On the butt, you see Vespertine writing, burnt into the wood. Triangong, 4.46mm, made in Sinyao.
It's as he said. It's a triangong, made in Sinyao.
No one said it has to be a Belmagrave. We were just guessing.
The lieutenant does not take his eyes off the old man.
From ballistics, it could easily have been a Triangong, too.
It doesn't matter if it was made in Shanti Shanti. All it has to do is use jacketed ammunition. And it does.
Yes, this uses jacketed ammunition. 4.46.
The right type and the right calibre.
The lieutenant nods, glancing at the gun.
He's liking this.
Stow the gun.
The old man keeps following your motion with his gaze. His right arm twitches suddenly. Some kind of involuntary response. Something is slightly off with his motorics. This looked very much like the murder weapon. It could be used against him to get a confession in time.
What have you been using this gun for?
I've used it for killing people.
Killing people?
It's a gun. That's what they're for. You want a moralist euphemism? Defending your family and your property. I haven't done that. I've used it to kill people.
Interesting. During or after the war?
There is no after the war. Class war is never over.
He shakes his head and smiles, his teeth rotten black.
So he's continued killing after hostilities ended. Okay. This is it. You can feel it, like battery acid on the tip of your tongue. Something you haven't felt in a while.
But what?
This is what you live for. This is the shit. The great serotonin jackpot. The solution. Go in straight. No euphemisms. He doesn't like those. No. Be careful now. Slow and steady does it. Make him repeat it first. Don't mess this up. Remember, he wants to tell you. Get personal.
So you're saying you killed people after active fighting stopped?
What did I just say?
He shakes his head erratically. He brushes something out of his eye.
What did I just tell you? Don't drop the ball now.
I know you want to tell me. Have you killed anyone with a gun in the last week or two?
I don't want to tell you anything, you grotesque murderer.
And why did you think that was a good idea? Don't listen to me. I'm wrong all the time.
Did you use the gun to shoot and kill a colonel of the security contractor, Crenell?
The who now?
He leans in and cups his ear.
He heard you. He just wants to hear you say it again. This is dramatic flair on his part. Right choice. We're in. Do it, sire.
The fascist death squad who took a bullet in the mouth on the night of March 4th.
Oh yes, that one. Ugly piece of work, that boy.
He looks up at the sky and clacks his tongue.
Did you kill him?
The lieutenant takes a sudden step toward him.
I am a son of a welder and an officer of the commune of Revachol. I do not collaborate with murderers and pederasts of the liberal regime.
A drop of blood in the saliva. Exhaust him with proof. Pile it all on him. Get a confession. The scent of blood in the air. But what else? There was something you can't remember. Something about the tracks. Suddenly, all those tracks are so confusing. Go with something else first.
We've done the ballistics. Point to the tower. The shot came from this island.
I saw you poking around there, looking for evidence. You're damn diligent when it comes to dead fascies. Did you like the view?
A jitter passes him.
You had direct visibility. There are embrasures in the concrete, specifically meant for a top follower to use. And you had a long-range rifle in your possession.
The lieutenant softens his voice.
You've been here a long time, Mr. Dras. Too long. You clearly need medical aid.
I'm ready to die. I've done my part.
The man interrupts him, then coughs.
He's practically admitting to it. Dead fascists for fascists. Done his part.
It's the best uninterrupted line of sight into that window in all of Martinez.
Because it's a sniper's nest, you stupid fuck. Radio Gosh is right. You have worms in your brain.
Another sudden twitch, then one more, one in his right eye.
Almost. He almost burst out there. Keep piling arguments. Anything.
I don't need your cooperation. I've got this. The Trigong 446.
Not a lot of guns around that use military-grade ammunition, are there?
It's a real gun. Not like your little musketeer pistol. I've seen you prance around with that, jumping hoops for the liberals.
He points to your sidearm.
You look like imbeciles. Why don't you ask them to give you real weapons, eh? Going against automatic rifles with a flame bomb. Of course you got all those boys killed.
Damn, he saw you. He's watched it happen. He would have a good view of the tribunal from here. It's not just empty boasting. So he saw you. Okay. So what? Don't let it divert you.
We saved a lot of them. Their leader, Titus. We handled that situation.
You didn't handle anything. I watched it happen. You let those murderers rip right into them. Got most of them killed, even the fat one. None of those people mean anything to you. The vultures feed on this city, and you prepare the meal for them.
You're getting diverted. Push the gun. Only the gun matters.
So you watched the fight? Did you like what you saw? The mayhem. It was all your doing, your plan. You got them killed.
You don't know anything.
A twitch runs across the right side of his face as he stares the lieutenant down. Stop changing the subject. We have the murder weapon.
You know what? You're right. I'm convinced this made the shot. Should we call it?
The lieutenant looks at the weapon demonstratively. You think we have the murder weapon?
4.46 jacketed ammunition, modified for range. We have it. This is it.
I'm calling it. We have the murder weapon.
Good.
The lieutenant takes out his notebook and draws a single line.
This feels good, doesn't it? Tearing things up like this. When you have the murder weapon, you have the killer.
Murder.
The old man says no more. He just glances into the reeds and then twitches once more.
This pushed him, but not enough. Just a little more.
Come on, what am I forgetting?
Wait, here it comes. The goddamn Maybells. The dried Maybells on Clausia's roof.
Oh yes.
There were Maybells in the grass when you got here, and Maybells on Clausia's balcony. And nowhere else. Nowhere in all of Martinez have you seen them.
I'm gonna be honest here. I do not remember this Maybells on the roof thing. I must have either kind of glanced over it in my head or missed that.
Wait, don't forget the footprints. The diagonal prints in the dust in the secret space behind Clausia's bedroom. Now, they're gonna come up.
Of course, thank you, Head, thank you.
You got it. Remember, the boot prints were like no modern soul. Maybe don't beat yourself anymore, though. You're not immortal.
I wonder what brand of boots you're wearing.
Everything is brands with you individualists. Who cares what brand my shoes are? Sansa? Some shit.
He looks at his running shoes covered in mud.
Show me the soles, please, Mr. Doras.
Fucking imbecile.
The old man stretches out his leg. A black and white spiral pattern covers the sole of the worn-out old running shoes on his feet.
The maker is Sensorique. The model is Corbeil, and the size is 43. These are not the unusual horizontal pattern soles you saw in the dust on the floor of the hidden room. They do, however, seem to be about the same size.
The size fits, but not the sole.
So let me try the drama here. Wait, maybe it's simpler than that.
Sire, he doesn't have to be wearing them right now.
People change shoes. It doesn't mean you weren't there. Near the room the victim died in, sneaking around.
Racking those brains, are you? Desperate to report something back to your masters? They must have really loved that dead fuck.
He squints at you, black pearls gleaming with hatred.
The lieutenant gives you a quick sideways glance and nods to acknowledge. The prints were his. You can see it in those eyes. He can't keep them from flickering, looking for something. The old man stares at his own prints in the ash around the fire. Silent suddenly, some strange process within him. A gush of wind. Seagulls in the distance. You've almost got him. Just the last little push.
Okay, let's back off for a moment. Tell me this.
You're lost, Dwight. You're lost.
One more time, Mr. Dross. The Colonel. We need to talk about you killing him.
Petty bourgeois law. This is all you care about, right? The only thing in the world for you types.
A drop of blood in the saliva. That's right. Pile it all on him now. 3 should do it. Maybe 4.
Okay, let's back off again.
You're lost, Dwight. You're lost.
Yosef Lilianovich Dross, you're under arrest for the murder of Ellis. Well, do I want to do it? I feel like this will end it. I want to do the composure. That's it for now, old man. Stay put.
I ain't going anywhere.
Yeah, I'm going to do a composure check.
What's this? We're getting reports of normal, reasonable, temperate political opinions somewhere in Martinez.
You must be mistaken. I'm a real radical.
Of course, a radical centrist. In these bright and loud times where 1,000 frequencies drown one another out, sober thinking is a radical act. It's time to become a citizen of the Kingdom of Conscience.
First, where is this Kingdom of Conscience?
It is not a place. It is a moment in time that can only arise in the right circumstances. In all of human history, it's only been achieved a handful of times.
How do you bring about those circumstances?
Incrementally. Yawn. You'd get there faster with a little speed. History's greatest catastrophes have been brought about by people trying to make the world a better place. Too quickly. That's the genius of Dolores Day. She recognized that progress is meaningless if its gains are lost because of instability. Real, lasting change can only come about gradually, increment by increment.
But what about all the things that are wrong now?
Tisk tisk. Just because you live in the present doesn't mean you have the right to place your needs above the needs of the future. You may never live to see the Kingdom of Conscience. Your children may not. Even your grandchildren might not. But that's no excuse not to keep working. What rationality? What benevolence? What a fucking joke.
Wait, is the Kingdom of Conscience really about doing things or just preserving the status quo?
Do you believe the status quo is preferable to chaos and bloodshed?
No.
Then you've never lived through real chaos. Sometimes, in the face of great disaster, defending the status quo is progress.
Okay, but what's the Kingdom of Conscience actually like?
The kingdom is difficult to comprehend, and even more difficult to describe, partly because humanity will need to discard many of the categories that define and limit it today. The Kingdom of Conscience is post-capitalist, post-national. It's also post-industrial, post-ideological, and even post-sexual.
Honestly, it sounds horrific, but I can't turn down a possible task or thought, so I'm going to say sounds incredible. Alonzi, let's go there right now.
Slow down, Mr. Reasonable. Did you miss the part about compromising and taking things slow?
Alright, let's get there eventually.
That's right. Remember, real democracy is just around the corner for Revachol. When that real democracy kicks in, a long time from now, we are all going to be so much happier.
Okay, my friends, that's going to do it for this episode. In the next one, I am going to try the check here, and we'll continue with the story, and we'll go from there. Thanks, as always, for watching. Be sure to leave a like on the video. If you're not already part of the Renaissance Gaming family, hit the subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate your presence here. I bring you lots of great games all the time, and I think you could have a lot of fun here if you decide to stay. If you've made it this far into the series, you must like my style, at least to some extent, you know? So, thanks again, and see you next time.
Thanks for stopping by the Renaissance Gaming Monastery. I hope you join our community on Discord and Twitter. These videos are produced with a lot of hard work and love. If you think they're worth $1, I'd be grateful for your contribution. You can send a thanks donation or become a member on YouTube. You can also support through PayPal, Patreon, or even with cryptocurrency. All links are in the description. See you on the next video.